I know it says at 9 p.m. monthly every month, first Monday of every month. It's 8 o'clock, slightly earlier, and it's been working well at this particular time, so we've stayed with it. It's not just me, though, Billy No Mates, drinking on the screen tonight. Let's bring the marvellous Austins onto the screen. Here they are, live from Alvagra tonight. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing, so everything's a plus.
Still alive. Well done. Hold on. Congratulations. Yes, absolutely, and shocking, absolutely shocking news from Turkey and Syria, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was alerted about the news, and I'm very aware that we live in a little bubble sometimes, and such was this morning's show. That after this morning's Good Morning Portugal show, Louisa said to me about Turkey and the earthquake, and I looked, and I don't think I've seen anything like it in my life. It's absolutely shocking. So we're sparing a thought for people in that predicament, and a bit more than that. Hopefully, we can figure out tonight if people know whilst we're here talking together, what are the best ways to provide aid and support for that horrific situation, the likes of which I've not seen before. I wonder what the best way is to help the people of Turkey and Syria. So you're, as well as having fun and enjoying ourselves tonight, drinking Portuguese wine, let's spare a thought for those folks and see what we can do to help them as well. I don't know what you thought about that. The images you were seeing, incredible.
It's Mother Nature at its absolute worst, isn't it? Really,
Sure. Yeah.
and the power of what can be unleashed is almost immeasurable.
Yeah.
And I think they have been predicting an earthquake in Turkey for some while now.
All right.
But it never prepares for when it comes, does it? Especially at that magnitude.
Well, no. Looking at the buildings, it looked to me like this is not a country prepared for that kind of earthquake and phenomenon of nature. Absolutely shocking. And when I don't know. We've talked about this before, Garth, haven't we? How we are prone to tearfulness in our older age. When I see somebody coming out of the ground, rescued by a group of people, I can't hold it in. And it's just such a relief to see somebody being pulled out of the ground, isn't it? On each and every occasion. I find that so moving.
Well, let's hope they pull many, many more of them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Drown our sorrows and change the subject here. What else can you do as a human being sometimes? We are looking at a wine this evening that you found, I think that caught your eye, has done for quite a while now. And you thought, okay, Portugal, a Good Morning Portugal wine club coming up. Let's give it a go. Tell us what happened.
It's just a complete wild card, really. I know nothing about it. Well, didn't know anything about this wine. I've passed it many, many times on the shelf, looked at it, and the thing that struck me straight away is the different shape of the bottle, because it's got a very short neck on it.
Yeah.
Compared to, it almost looks like a sawn-off shotgun version of a wine bottle, doesn't it?
To me, it looks like a doorman. It looks like a broad-shouldered security guy telling you your name's not on the list.
I can see that. So just thought I'd give it a go, and with so many of the wines that I've chosen, they've always had strangely enough, a connection to women, and without knowing anything about this wine, it's done it again.
Yes, you have, haven't you?
It's done it again. Yes. I don't know why.
That's incredible, isn't it? Well, you're an energetic guy. And by that, I mean not someone who runs about necessarily, but somebody who connects on the vibes level. Yes, you and female winemakers. Tell us about some of the others that we've experienced before.
Oh, boy, when we go back in the past, I mean, the one that really sticks out for me was Ermelinda Wine's Leonora.
Yeah.
I mean, she is such a role model for women in the modern day. I mean, she's existed in a man's world and beat them at their own game, basically, and made some crackingly good wines which sell very well. And then if we go further back in history, it was the old, what was the name?
Ferreira.
Yeah, the Ferreira, the old girl who took over from her father, again in a man's world, and made a company and employed lots and lots of people and got respected through the community. And the thing that sticks in my memory about that story is that when she passed away, she was 90 something. They lined the routes all the way to the cemetery, and apparently it was an unbroken line of people who turned out, and it was a fair few miles or so.
How wonderful. How wonderful. And talking of longevity, we've got Luis Pato, who's no spring chicken and keeps really busy making wine, doesn't he? We've had Chris on the show, haven't we? Chris Emerson, who makes the wines in a Silver Coast. It's as though becoming a winemaker later on in life gives you something. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe sipping your own wine is kind of like an elixir.
Keeps you young.
It would appear to.
Your own wine keeps you young.
Yeah. So well done, all those veteran winemakers, and of course the females. And this is another great find. And the Rola, of course, that'll be Anna Rola, who I think this wine is named. Is the word eponymous? Yeah, I think it is. She has named this wine in her family's honor, it would appear.
It would appear that way, yes. I mean, there is a little story which we've got gathered together hastily, I must add. And if you want, we'll go through it.
Definitely.
If you're interested. Hopefully my voice won't crack up and I'll go into a coughing fit, but if it does, I apologise.
Glass of wine, mate, if that happens.
Yeah, sounds like a good reward at the end of it.
Maybe we should pour some.
I suppose you could. You get a beautiful assistant.
When I was getting ready tonight, I took a photograph of the cheese I'm hoping to have with this wine, and I was opening up the cheese, taking a photograph of the cheese, and opening the bottle to let it breathe. And I said to have the little swig, the cheeky swig,
the first one out.
And I think you introduced me to that idea. Did you do that tonight with this one?
Do you know what? Because I've been in such a rush, I actually didn't. So I'm not going to get a true comparison. But it can be quite dramatic, can't it? The difference in wine when you open it to when you get to drink it. And temperature is so important. It sounds
that's what really struck me tonight. One thing to say about this, it's at the higher end, isn't it, of our budget?
It depends which way you look at it. I mean, I'm trying to figure out a scale. And we're all different because our pockets are, of different depths. For me, if you go sort of,
and some of us have got short arms. Is that what you're saying?
If you sort of go €1 to €5, that's what you call a budget wine, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
And then sort of 5, maybe up to 15 would be a mid-range wine. After 15, you start to get into some what you'd expect to be fairly special. That's kind of the level I look at.
Yeah, that's fair.
This one sits mid-level, really.
But what you didn't include in that is the wines that are up to €3, which most of us drink every day, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, you get your standard sort of, table wines, you would call it, which is nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. For value for money, it does the job, and it's there, it's dependable, and you will drink it virtually every day. But just for something else, an exploration, a soiree into another taste or region, it's good just to have a little, treat yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I say a few hellos before you do move on? And
certainly can.
We have Helga and Chris are watching tonight. Very kind of you to do so. Doug's also here, a veteran of the wine club, not joining us on screen tonight. You can if you want. I mean, anyone can come on and join us. I will put the link into the chat a little bit later on after we've talked about the wine. And if you want to come on, talk about Portuguese wine, talk about what you're drinking tonight, then please do that. Who remembers Rola Cola? I don't remember that. No, says Pete as well, who's also here tonight. Good evening, Pete. It was that where you return the bottles to get some pennies back. Panda Cola is where that still perhaps happens. Do you still do that, Pete? Pete, do you go around the bottle banks picking up old bottles thinking I can get a few pennies on that one? It all adds up. Wow, Gary and Linda, you're looking ever so professional. Pete continues, how terrible it is in Turkey and even worse in northern Syria where they've had so much bomb damage already. Absolutely, Pete. And as if Syria hasn't suffered enough at the hands of humans. Quite. Yeah, absolutely. I've met and befriends. I wonder who you're talking to about there, Doug. Andrew Gilchrist, Lord Andrew Gilchrist, of Lisbon, late of Surrey. Is with us tonight as well. What are you all drinking this evening? Are you joining us with something nice, something Portuguese perhaps? And Randy, I don't know if that's a comment. Is that when I said how's everyone feeling tonight? Mate, okay. Doug, here we go. I've met and befriended a lovely lady winemaker from Reguengos. She is and then we keep losing him. Oh, she's an inspiration. Definitely living in a man's world and doing okay. She also makes her own ginginha as well. And you can just imagine, can't you, being at Doug's house, and he tells this story, and then he goes and gets a bottle of that ginginha. from the larder or from his vast wine cellar, and we all get to try it as well. And who else is here this evening and joining us? Carl, that was Keith Floyd. Who was? Did we mention Keith Floyd? Helga is here. Good evening, Helga. Lovely to see you and Chris here. We're watching the show. So brilliant that you join us. And we also have Michael. Thank you. Hola, fellow enophiles there. I guess a fancy way of saying wine lovers or just boozers, basically. There are some amazing €1 to €3 wines. It's true. It's hard to believe for some people, isn't it, that there are €1 to €3 wines, but there really are, and they really are not that bad. I had to pay top dollar because of the time scale, I think, and I got it at Auchan for $11.99. One of the most expensive. Yes, easy, Gary. I should have whispered that or written it down on a piece of paper, shouldn't I? But I think it is available, isn't it, from other places around is it the €9 price point?
You will range between 7, 8, up to about 12.
Okay, and I paid the high end there, and as long as lots of that goes back to Rola, then fair enough, and I hope it does with the deal you've done with Auchan. And yes, from Helga as well. I'm wondering which comment you're saying yes to there, Helga. And Lisa's with us. How about that? It's the open and swig. That's the thing that Garvo introduced me to. Oh, and I was going to say yes, at my Intermarché, they've got their own range of bottom end pricing wise, not bottom end quality wise. They do a whole load of wines around the €3 mark that are really good. They've got beautiful labels, and they're helpful, the labels, as well as attractive, and really great value as well. Drinking a super Alentejo Vinha de Cutada Velha. Is that the one with the blue label with a duck on the cover? Part of the recent Continent wine sale. Always good. The Continent wine sale. Oh, and Pete also got it from Ocean, but cheaper than I did. €9. Thank you, Pete, for getting the right wine tonight. And would that be Steve Benoit from Chicago tonight? Facebook user. Could be another Portuguese wine aficionado in Chicago, but I think that may well be Steve this evening. Sorry, Garvo, that was rather a takeover there of what you're trying to tell us about this wine.
No worries. You're going to put the link up for people to come in if they want to?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there it is now.
No, okay.
It's in the chat, everybody, if you want to cut and paste that into your browser and join us live.
So, okay, I'm not going to dwell too much on this, just a bit of background information, a little bit of a story as we like to work into our wines. Obviously, the tonight's wine is Rola. Would they say Rola or Roya?
I think it's Rola.
Rola. So
roll the R and keep the L sound quite singular.
Roya.
Okay. I'm obviously very happy to be corrected on that.
Maybe somebody can tell us, because I always thought that the L made a sort of a y sound. So Roya. Don't know. Might be wrong. Maybe it's what's.
Well, let's see. Let's take advice on that.
Back to the story. As I said, I chose this wine for no other reason than the difference of the bottle. It was a very individual shape of bottle, and it caught my eye. I've passed it a few times on the shelves, and look, I'll have to try that one day. So I did. And that was, as with many of the wines I've chosen, there's always seems to be a link with women, and it's turned up again on this one because this wine, the winemaker, is a lady. And if I go to my first screen there, hopefully that's the one we're having at the moment. The lady is this lady, who is Anna Roya. She was raised from a winemaking family who lived in the Douro. Obviously, it's obviously in the blood. A grandfather inspired a sort of deeper interest, and she was about 10 years old at this time. And Carl and I were talking about, young kids involved in winemaking, but it is part of life here, isn't it? Obviously, the love of the land and what it produces got into her bloodstream, so she decided to do something about it. Now, the other lady, who is a long-time friend of hers, the other half of the equation, is this lady, which is Helga Rodriguez. She was actually born in the Douro region, friends with Anna, but she went off to be trained as an architect, which is lovely, and qualified in 2004. But for some reason, she was called back to the land, the winemaking, missed it, and she decided to sort of get along with a mate there and form a company. And the vineyard where they started the project up is called Quinta de Remosteis. I hope that's right. And if we just go to a couple of pictures of that so you can see what we're looking at.
Oh my word!
It's just heaven, isn't it, really? I mean, it's what you'd give an arm and a leg for, really.
Look at that.
Lovely, lovely things, right? And the vineyard is located, obviously, in the Douro. And it's about where was my little information on it.
Is that the river we're seeing then? That it's on right on the river?
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of vein of blue is the Douro River running from.
Yeah.
Porto. Okay, directly east of Porto.
Yeah, it's the area where she grew up as a child. The vineyard itself is 8 acres, and it was replanted in 1990, which is not that long ago, really, for a vineyard, is it?
No.
And the girls kind of got together in 2014 to start this project. So Anna and Helga, and Helga's husband, Jose, he's part of the team as well.
Yes,
They make a modest range of wines, really, compared to some, and the production is not massive, so it's kind of smaller scale, I think. So let's just talk a little bit about the wine itself. It uses a blend of 4 grapes, and just to make so you can actually see what they're like, we've got Touriga National, we have Touriga Franca, Tinto Rouge, and Tinto Cow, and those are all names that keep cropping up in the wines that we drink.
What was the last one there, Gary? I didn't recognise that one so much.
Tinto Cow.
Okay.
It's really lovely. I mean, let's make a nice painting, that really, wouldn't it?
Beautiful.
As in with a lot of wines, they're fermented in stainless steel vats like that, and this one is fermented 7 to 10 days before it's moved to. So I just got to shuffle down my little
It looks like
subscreen.
the Thunderbirds, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Thunderbird 7, full of wine.
And then it's moved to barrels like that, where it's matured for 9 to 12 months. And we could be expecting from this a kind of slightly dry, with good tannin structure, flavors dark fruit, oak, caramel, and red fruit like cherries, etc. And probably ideally served at an incredible 18 degrees centigrade, which seems quite warm, doesn't it, really?
It does. The first taste I had was too cold.
Now then,
So I'm glad to hear that.
there's a lovely little backstory to this as well. They make a range of these wines here, which I think is a lovely little touch, really, because Anna had her first daughter and decided to make a wine to celebrate it. And women being women, doing things as they do all together, Helga not long followed with her daughter, and the second wine was made in celebration of that. And the third wine is just basic celebration of the team that made the company really what it is. And that's basically just an overview of what you're going to taste.
Superb.
Nice story.
Great job. And yeah, that's it. The Rola Douro Red. We've got Lord Gilchrist joining us soon. Shall I play the video as well?
Go on, play the video. Go on.
Let's
get some atmosphere, shall we?
Yeah, it's a nice video. It's not in the best resolution, but you'll get a great sense of the Douro region. And you mentioned Jose, who's the financial director. I had 2 calls on my phone yesterday, Sunday morning, Portuguese number, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who this is. And I've been getting calls from all over the world, like people ringing me at 4:30 in the morning wanting help moving to Portugal and stuff. Right? So I'm thinking this can probably wait. But then I saw another call, and then another call. Can you call me? And it was Jose from Rola, who's the financial director, the third in this partnership, the leadership of this wine production team. And he said, I put a post up saying this is Anna, whose wine we're drinking on Monday night. And she thought she'd forgotten that she'd said she would be on this. I was panicking. I sent her a message to apologize. But I said, no, we weren't expecting you. We just wanted to show a lovely picture of Anna. and mentioned that we because I tagged them in the Facebook post. So I think they were quite relieved that after a quick panic. So sorry for any stress I caused in the. I mean, that vineyard looks so peaceful, doesn't it? To
It
some
does look
kind of
beautiful.
English joker has done that, and of course, you bring a stressful environment to.
It's a shame, Carl, because normally I try and get in contact with the producer or whoever to get somebody on, and maybe if we got just a little bit more time, we could have figured that one out a bit better. But who knows? They might come and have a little drop
They've been in touch. Yeah, he's a lovely guy, and he was very, very fine about when I explained what was going on. And he did say that they're very busy at the moment, and they might be able to pop on. So they might, who knows? They might be watching, and they might want to join us. They might want to see what we're going to say about it first.
Well, yes,
because that's a bit awkward, isn't it? If it's not good, and we're saying it's like tastes like, I don't know, motor oil going over sandpaper or something like that. It's going to be a bit embarrassing to have the maker. But my experience of it so far is nothing like that. Quite the opposite, in fact. So here's the video, and we'll actually get on with some tasting after 23 minutes into the show. Here's the vid. Without any music, so we can talk over it. I think.
We have to do commentary.
Why don't we? Well,
you can do the translation, Carl, because I took my glasses off now. So.
Oh, it's gone. I would have translated that line.
Oh, okay.
What a shame, eh?
It shows how the mist also kind of contributes to the atmosphere of what the wine grows in, isn't it? Really, as well.
So beautiful, this part of the world, isn't it?
It is.
Some obligatory drone footage of the vineyards, but how else are you going to do it? And then going into the production facility, and this, I imagine, is where the tractors once upon a time would have pulled up alongside the warehouse here, right, to bundle all the boxes full of grapes into the pressing. It's not called a pressing plant. That's where you make records, isn't it? But the grape squishing gear will be behind that granite there. Oh, it's such a beautiful part of the world, isn't it? And I think it is. Doesn't it have some sort of UNESCO protection? As well as
I think it does,
world-renowned DOC wine producing region. Very nice, and of course that would have been so much more atmospheric with the music. But that may have also got us a YouTube strike.
You never know in today's world, do you? It's always possible.
You just don't know, do you, until you've trodden on someone's copyright toes, and then you get thrown off YouTube or something like that. So let's give it a taste, shall we? Lord Gilchrist,
come on, Carl. Remember your training. You got to smell it first.
Well, my first impression on the first swig was that it didn't have the fuminess that we are sometimes familiar with industrial production. There's no kind of strong hit on the hooter, is there?
No.
Which is a blessing, and I think that gives you a sense of sophistication from the get-go, right?
Well, with the hooter like this, you've got to be careful, haven't you, really, I suppose?
Mind what you do with that. And then colour. I noticed it was a beautiful pink as well. As it swished around and as some of the legs were hanging on the glass, it had a beautiful colour. It's much more inky as you see it there. But can you see on the top of the...
Yeah.
See that? It's like beetroot, isn't it? Isn't that a beautiful colour?
Yes. You can see that quite clearly.
Yes, a beetroot ring on the top there. So visually very nice. Not too leggy and certainly not too pungent on the nose. What do you think, Linda and Gary?
It's nice.
Yeah. Oh, you're not talking about smell. You just straight in there and smash it down the grid. Okay. Okay.
There's no smell.
There is smell. It's very subtle.
I can't smell it.
I smell a bit of oak in there.
No,
really?
Yeah. And a little bit of, I don't know what that is. You can smell a fruit, obviously, because it's wine, but there's something else. I'm not sure what it is. Something.
Yes. I've got, you know, when people sometimes say Parma violets.
Yeah.
So there is something perfumed.
Yes.
That's lingering on my tongue. And it's not quite as brutal as, I've got Frank's joined us in the green room and he is shaking his head at the mention of Parma violets. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Andy.
Hey, how you doing?
Just because you've got your Led Zepp t-shirt on doesn't mean you can come in here like shaking your head at me because I mentioned Parma violets. Did I sound a little bit pretentious there, Frank?
Slightly.
Okay, thank you. On the
Not too much. Not too much.
What, maybe a 5 out of 10 on the potentiometer?
Yeah, pretty much.
I've got to give you credit because you have moved on from what was it, Werther's in leather trousers. So it's
Lady
got to be
Hose.
improved now.
Yes. Good evening to you, Lord Gilchrist, as well. How are you? Eating, I think, still.
What was he doing? What is he doing? He's always he's talking, he's chewing, he's always ready for the camera. What is with this guy?
He's going for some wine in its original form.
Andy, we can't hear you, man. I swear to God.
You need some
It's 1975. What's going on over here?
Well, I mean, I like the look, Frank. It's a powerful look. You're looking a bit like Elton there tonight. So
it's all right, man. Thanks. How are you doing?
Rock and roll. Very rock and roll.
Yeah, I've got a typical fashion. I forgot to get the wine for tonight.
None
So
taken.
I'm having wine in its raw form, which is equally delicious.
I'm drinking this wine.
Hold on, let me just give you the full screen there. We've seen Andy's grapes. Let's have a look at what you.
Yeah, let's have a look at Andy's grapes. And this is Giulietta Riserva, and it's obviously an Alentejo wine, 14%.
Why is it obviously Alentejo?
Oh, because I like full wines. If I'm not drinking a boxed wine, there, Garbo.
He's so not over that.
I have to agree with Frank, though. The Algarve and Alentejo reds are fantastic. I'm just going to write that down there right now.
They're fantastic.
Michael, I've also was going to say there's a challenge Garvo Lade was going to solve for me, which was one time he was going to find me a decent rosé to drink, and yet still I don't say I've got the solution to a rosé I like.
Well, I only gave you one, and it came reasonably close, didn't you? You were kind of.
All right. I'm going to break this rosé party. Rosé is for chicks. All right. Can we not do this nonsense? What is wrong with you two? Rosé. Well, even Linda is looking at you, Gary, and going, "What is wrong with you?"
Thank you. Have a stir fry. I love your stir fry with a rosé. It's just beautiful.
A stir fry with a rosé.
Yes.
You know, there's about 50 million Chinese rolling in their graves. A stir fry with rosé. What are you doing to me tonight?
I think, you know, when that Chinese balloon came over, it saw the stir fry being filled with rosé and went and just thought, we're going back to China.
Actually, come on now. The Chinese market is one of the fastest growing markets around Portuguese wine.
And I think Matthias Rosé is probably doing I was going to say doing a bomb in China. That's probably not. That's probably going to trigger all sorts of difficulties.
Yeah, but remember when we had that old man who wouldn't stop talking about his wine, Mr. Winemaker, dude, who was so annoying. What was his name?
Louis
Pato. Yeah, remember he kept on going on about his wine gets sold. And the Chinese drink his wine with Coca-Cola, and he doesn't care because they buy each bottle of wine for like $200 or $300.
With the red label. With the red label. You're in fighting form tonight, Frank. And can you turn your microphone down a bit? You're distorting as well. Is it because you got a Led Zepp t-shirt on that you're distorting? Are you putting this through a distortion pedal?
His amp's turned up. That's what it is.
Up to 11.
You're a bit loud and noisy as well.
I've got my.
All right, tweak. Give it a tweak. Give it a tweak. You look like a roadie. You should be able to do that.
I'll give you a tweak. Give me a sec.
Ooh, but Charles is here. Hola, boa noite. My favorite Brits. How about that? I'm still at work, but dropping in.
How dare you? How dare you, Charles?
Good on you.
We love Charles. Don't.
Apparently, I think Charles is coming over soon.
I believe so.
I hope to see him. So that would be lovely to meet up with Charles.
Wouldn't it just? Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure why you're saying brown then, Michael Whitby, and we would like to know how it's going down with your Vinho de Cutada Velha. That is a. Oh, they do a white and a red of that, I think, don't they? Anyway, tell us more, please, Michael and Catherine. It is Steve indeed spotted in Chicago. We're drinking the Prajo de Roriz from PNS, a Douro with the same grapes as what you have. That's great. Tell us how it's going. I don't know who this was. This may still have been Steve when he was over there on Facebook. Rola, not Rolia, which is a cork. There's another word for cork as well, though, isn't there? Maybe there's cork and a cork. slightly different words or very different words in Portuguese. Here we go. Bit more controversy tonight. We've had Frank undermining the great winemaking tradition, although a rebel, Luis Pato, and now Pete saying one thing we have learned so far is that the Douro have been the most disappointing and expensive regions. Had some absolutely terrible wines at the more expensive end with the Douro.
You know,
Do you think it's resting on its laurels?
Pete never ceases to surprise me. He knows his wine inside out, just like Perkins.
Do you know?
He knows his stuff.
Perkins. Happy birthday, Perkins, who's I think in Mauritius.
Hey, Perky, how you doing?
Yeah, okay.
The thing is, right, and we've learned this on our travels, is that the style of wine in Portugal varies. I mean, you get your Alentejos and your Tejo wines, and a lot of the more mass-produced wines, Tejo wines, aren't they? And their style is very definite. You get a full-bodied, full-flavor wine. You know, there's no searching about for that. It comes to you, hits you straight away, and it's sun in a glass, really, isn't it? That's what it tastes like. And then you go up north to the Douro and the Dow, and it's a bit more subtle.
Yes.
And you can't really compare the two because wines like this are probably a bit more classical. So you have to kind of give them time and search for the flavor and let it come. So sometimes it's a bit unfair just to compare one against the other because they're very, very different styles.
Well said, Garbo.
They are, but the thing is, this Alicante Boucher, which is usually the connector of all their wines, right? So in this Alicante Boucher, I find that in Douro wines, I don't know what the mix is, but somehow that's why I love Alentejo wines. For some reason, they do the mix and match very, very nice with Syrah, with Trincadeira. They do a very, very good job. These grapes, they do a wonderful, wonderful job. I don't know why. You like your Alentejo wines, right, Garbo?
Yes. I'm a firm favourite of Southern wines because they, as I say, they've got that definite, almost dramatic taste when they hit your taste buds. It's like, wow, this is a proper, tasting wine. Whereas these guys, they need a bit more work. And
yes, it is north-south divide, isn't it? It's north-south stuff. It's like the south. It's a bit like how the north of Europe has this funny relationship with the south of Europe, isn't it? It's like life is so easy for them, and they look down upon us being lazy, and they've got the sunshine. It's like, well, too bad, boo-hoo. Yes, we have. And I think it's a similar thing with the wine story, isn't it? Working up north with grapes, you have to try a bit harder. So that means it can go a bit wrong from time to time. And I think what you say is true, Garvo. You just put some grapes in the sun in the Alentejo and down south, and they turn into wine pretty much. But you have to try a bit harder. The Dow and the Douro, for sure. Are you shaking your head at me again, Frank?
No, I'm finally agreeing with something that you've said. Actually,
wow. Okay. And look at this, another damning indictment of Douro. Are the gifting of Portuguese wines. Once acquired.
All right, Pete, we got it. You hate Douro wines. Give it a rest.
Wine lovers from Victoria, presumably in Portimao. Hi, Gary and Londa.
Londa.
Hi there, Londa. Hi, Pete and Andy. And what's this traditional Douro grapes? Sir Lion H is with us tonight. Great to have you here. And
hey, yes. Carl, can you please? I have a request. Can you please put the camera on Linda so I can see her properly and say hello to her nicely?
Let me just do that. Gary's there as well, of course. Is that okay, Frank?
Yeah, but Linda, if only you didn't have that clown right next to you,
He's in a special kind of mood tonight, isn't he? He's a bit mischievous this evening, I think. That's gorgeous. I'll be in Portugal in a couple of weeks. Lovely to see you here in this environment, the Saudade Life. Adding this to my list to try. I love a wine with a great story. Yes! Garvo's good at finding them as well.
Yeah. They find me. I don't find the story. They just seem to find me.
They do. They speak to you like sirens.
No, all kidding aside, Garvo does and he's got his. Look at him pouring that thing. Look at you. This is an entire process. Look at this. Has it been aired properly, the Garvo? Like what's going on?
Changed. Come on, we're over 50 wines in, Frank, and things have changed a little bit since those early days of getting a.
You know what,
like,
guys? The other
€3
day,
wine.
the other day, I walked past the. Remember that where we had the inaugural wine club meeting in Coimbra?
Oh yes.
I walked that little square where we all sat that one night, and my mind went back and thought how wonderful that was.
Yeah, that
When
was
the
a
doors
good-
That was
opened and
wonderful.
discovered.
It was
Good evening.
wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
The doors of our wine appreciating perception were open.
We've got to do that. We've got to do a revisit to that spot and like bring all these people like whenever they come, because I know that there are a lot of new members who've arrived in Portugal. I think we should get everybody together, put them into a bus, take them to Coimbra, and then once they are there, get them
Drive
drunk
off.
and leave them in the university town.
Yep, a great idea, Andy.
I'm gonna add to that, and I've put a share screen up if you want to share it.
Oh, are you not allowed to do that?
I know you're the host, so you have the admin of it.
Oh, look at
This,
power.
yeah,
Yes, you can.
that power.
What do
There you go. There you go.
What is
Yes.
yours?
This is Honrado Vineyards in Alentejo. It's a Roman winery, which is still used to make amphora wine, and they make the most fantastic red. And it's
Andy, this looks like the back of a radiator. What is this?
right. Okay, let me.
Glasses on. Oh, yeah.
If I go onto said webpage,
Yeah.
I'll scroll down. They do. This is Vigno d'Italia, which is like a new table. Fabulous.
Nice.
It's a Roman winery with amphoras. Most things are about 8 foot tall.
Lovely big amphoras.
We got to do this, Andy. We got to do this, man.
Are the
This
wine,
and
wine's made
look,
inside them.
you can see the tables there. They do wine tasting with like nibbles, and there's a restaurant next door, and you can have Alentejo food and wine, and they'll do like wine tours, so you can take a bunch of people as a party. But it's fantastic. It's in a village or town called Vila de Freitas.
Okay.
And
And did you know? Did you say that they do belly dancing right after?
I didn't see that.
Not exactly Roman, is it? I mean, what would you expect at a Roman?
I mean, you can
orgy,
see
perhaps.
the building is Roman, and they didn't realize until they peeled the plaster and the modern
Wow.
kind of fit out on the wall, and they realized it was actually a Roman winery. And it's still done 2,000 years later in the same method, and it's fabulous. Yeah, and those amphoras, you see the step ladder there. The guys actually get inside them to clean them with a sponge.
Wow.
Really? In togas, I hope.
No, in a t-shirt and shorts, but
No,
they have
no,
to
no.
climb into
Like
clean.
regular sponges or like old-fashioned sponges?
Yes,
or
like, I mean, the real one from the sea.
Like the bathhouse sponges.
Not the
I
bathhouse
knew,
sponges,
I
though,
knew
they were
where you were
shared.
going with that. Yeah, I knew where he was going with that. Like
Yeah, I
like
know.
one on a stick. Yes, not that sort. And certainly not the
Yes,
same one.
not those shared sponges. No, it was a fantastic venue, great restaurant. It's a family-run thing. So like the parents run the restaurant, the son runs the winery, and it's a whole family kind of enterprise. But it's honestly some of the nicest wine I think I've ever drunk, and that's a bold
Really?
claim. But yeah, it's fabulous.
And is that something to do with the surroundings and the experience, do you think?
Well, they don't put anything in it, so there's no sulfates or preserves in the wine.
God,
It's just
really?
made and then bottled, and then you drink it within 6 months because it will eventually turn. So, so we bought some wine to take with us, and we drank it a couple of months later, and it was still fantastic. But we
You know,
drank.
we did the Vitiguera tour with Mr. and Mrs. Perkins, and that Vitiguera tour in Alentejo was amazing as well. I think with the wine club, I think we need to take it like outdoors, and we need to get people into these places for them to explore and understand what Portuguese culture and wine really, really means.
Mhm.
What do you think? Yeah, Gary's agreeing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely, mate. I'm on with that one. Totally.
Brown is the label color. I think I do know that one. Has it got gold writing on it? But I guess a lot of wines have got gold writing on. Maybe send us a screenshot, not a screenshot, a photo, Michael, on WhatsApp. We're connected, aren't we? Of course, on WhatsApp. So a few more comments coming in, and Pete's still not happy here. So Sadad Life, yeah, definitely. It will be visiting or trying this wine. I hope we're going to meet Sadad Life, and of course. There are Central Portugal people, Lisbon, Portugal people here, and Algarve if you want to find out where the meetups are happening. The mist must help add the distinctly humid overtones. That's going up north, I think. Joao is here. Boa noite, Carl, Gary, and Linda. Go, Chelsea. And
Joe.
drink it. Beautiful location. Thank you, Nubia.
Good night to newbie.
I think you were urging us to get on with it at that point. It was 25 minutes in. Michael, you underestimate the work into putting that red juice into that bottle. Douro wines only lack the over softening of the Alentejo. I think you're right, Michael. Sorry, I was just retorting there with Frank. They are both great docks in their own rights. So respective differences. True. Yeah, it's a polar world we live in, though, isn't it? Very tempted to go to one end or the other of the spectrum. We have some amazing wines here in Fundão, says Pete. He kept that quiet. We have grape harvested for the last 2 years in Panela, and they have award-winning wines as well. That's way over there with Philomena, who of course joins us on Friday. But that's her patch over there, isn't it?
Yeah, but Panela really, like, Panela is like, it's a small town, man. There's not even anything going on over there. Come on, Pete. Like, I've been to Panela. Like, I went to Panela and went around, and somebody told me you were in Panela and you went out. I don't know. I actually like Lausanne better. What do you think, Carl? You've been to both Panela and Lausanne.
I really like Panela. I think there's a place called Rabasal there, which is another Roman site in Portugal.
Rubber what?
Rubber, a bit like the Beatles, Rubber Soul, but actually Rabasal, where they make cheese. I don't know if this is Pete responding to you. You're bland and lacking any smoothness, maybe, Frank. No, I think he's talking about this red tonight. He's not happy about it, is he?
Now then,
there's something going. Somebody pissed in his porridge today. I don't know, something going.
I'm going to ask the question. We're going to ask the question here, right? Is it warm enough? Is his wine warm enough?
Because this is it.
Because the difference can be just absolutely dramatic, really can. And because this is a nice warm room now, it's been open probably an hour or more. It's probably sitting at the right temperature.
Well, boys and girls, I'll tell you, this is a wonderful wine. If you get your hands on this wine, usually it's going for about $12.99, but when it's on sale, 60 or 70% off, you can get this wine for €3 or €4. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine. I always get have 2 or 3 of these, or the one that I like from Stubble. It's the Sobriero. It's a beautiful wine.
Thank you, Frank, for that. So the Giulietta is your recommendation this evening. Garvo, you're right. My glass is still cold to the touch. The room is being heated with an electric heater, which is a strange heat, isn't it? So my face is going red. The wine is staying quite cool in the glass. And I think you're right. This might release a little bit more aroma once it warms up. And they are recommending it's drunk at 18 degrees, you say.
Yes.
I'm gonna cup mine gently. And the wine as well. And see what
I don't get the aroma, but the
not there, is it, Linda?
taste is much mellower.
It's very smooth.
Really smooth.
I mean, as you know, I'm not a Douro fan, but I have to say, give it its due. This is quite silky.
It's fine. It's a fine wine, no question about that, and it's going down beautifully. Did you see my cheese board that I bought? Have you guys seen this in the shops? They're going for some major sort of marketing thing here. You can see the Portuguese azulejos, and it's a little kind of shrink-wrapped wine board, cheese board, I beg your pardon, and it's got Ceramont, Quinta de Olival, and Três Igrejas, which are award-winning cheeses on this little board. You know when it says easy to open? Has anyone ever actually found that to be true when you're opening something that says it's easy to? No, okay. Eventually, when I got the knife in the right place and nearly stabbed myself, I did open nicely. And this cheese is beautiful and going down really nicely with this red tonight.
So you're telling me your studio? Because I've been in your studio. It's quite warm over there. Are you like? Did it get like slightly colder over there?
Since you left, the temperature plummeted. It's been so as I've cried myself to sleep every night after you've gone. It's really cold. Once the sun's gone down here, I've never known anything like it. We haven't had a winter like this, Mrs. M thinks, where it's beautiful in the day. And it truly, you know, the saying, the cold country with the hot sun. That is how it is at the moment. At night, before the sun comes up, and as soon as the sun goes down, very chilly.
Yeah, but the thing is that once again, what I loved is how the kids were in the living room and they had like their beds set up over there, and everybody kept keeping each other warm over there with the thing. I think that was the best setup for winters, man. If that isn't, you should take a picture of that and make that like a show everyone what is going on.
The Dickensian hovel style of.
Oh, I love it. This is exactly what you do in a Portuguese winter when it's cold like this. The entire family gets under the blanket, and everybody just watches movies on Fridays, Saturdays, and does that.
For 2 months. Hey, Frank and Andrew from Joao as well. And Porty, is that what she calls you? Porty.
Yeah, because I call her newbie, so she calls me Porty.
Porty, okay. And in capitals, of course, as is right. Good for you, Frank. That is a nice wine. Your Giulietta is being admired. I drink rosés all year.
See, I knew her like newbie, Ned. We can talk.
Yes.
But Nubia, you're a wonderful lady. Look at these two over here. These two are drinking and going on about a rosé wine. One wants to have it with Chinese food, and the other one, I don't know, with like a bear shadow behind it. And he wants to drink. Yeah, is that a bear? Oh no, it's not. Okay.
What, a bear shower?
No, I thought it was a bear's. Like, doesn't it look like a little bear behind it? Yeah.
Someone said it looks like the Wolves logo, but
Yes, it's very sort of hive-like, isn't it? I wish you guys would have a taste of my mummy wine in Madeira.
That sounds a bit.
It sounds quite Egyptian as well.
No, the best one was. Remember when we were up north, Carl, and in that region with the porco? When they roast the entire pork and they do the sparkling red.
The leitão.
Now that is not the leitão. With the leitão, that sparkling red is beautiful. That I can agree with.
You know what? What João is talking about is his mum's wine when he's talking about mummy wine. And we have a beautiful picture. Thank you, everybody who's been sending pictures in this evening. I've got a lovely picture that you'll like, João, of Madeira. We've got Aviva over there who's sending us pictures. This is a picture of Madeira, I think this morning. How about that? Top of the world, right? Isn't that fantastic? And she says, what's she saying to us this evening?
Does he have a satellite?
She, I don't think she. I think she was standing, looking at that this morning, and says, "Here's a photo from a cloudy sunrise at Pico Arairo this morning."
Oh, so this is like she's probably got her place like right on top of a hill somewhere.
Or went up there for that specific purpose, 1,800 meters. That's fantastic. And look, it's Joao's mum picking grapes to make her own wine. That's amazing. How beautiful. Amazing.
Mrs. Mendoza.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what's going on in there? Is that like a walkway where the like a covered walkway covered by grapes and grapevine, and she's picking them there and she's making wine for
this is João making up for his horrible football team.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
And there we go. There's what Michael and Catherine are drinking.
Oh yes. That's a very good bottle of wine.
We've drunk that. Did we not have that, or their white version, or white?
I think we had that.
I think that was from one of yours, Frank. If my memory serves me right.
Yeah. I think we did. I think I did that one. That was a wonderful bottle of wine.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael, for sharing that. 7 p.m. dinner time. I'm eating also, and hopefully the wine will prevent Frank's stroke. Okay, that's a cheerful thought. I don't have a Douro. I brought an Alentejo home last month from my drive-through. Beautiful region.
Yes.
They have a drive-through. That sounds very un-Portuguese, or maybe that's your drive-through.
Drive-through
road trip. Yeah,
rather than a wine drive-through. Well, that's probably coming in certain parts of Portugal. And Panella has won the best wine award in Asia 3 times. Yeah, Frank, think this wine is best for a champana or as vinegar. He is so unhappy.
Okay, champana, I understand. But the thing is, do you understand that whenever champana is made in champana, they use whatever wine is about to turn into vinegar. They throw that wine in there to make that stew with the cabrito. So the thing is, Champfana doesn't use the best wine; it uses the worst wine. So if it's a Panella wine, I'm quite sure it's being used in there.
No, he's talking about what the Austins and myself are tasting this evening. I'm not getting that at all. Excuse me for eating and talking to you. Tammy has stopped working to start drinking.
Steve, I know.
Hey, Steve, how you doing? How are you, Tammy?
One experience is similar to what you're getting from the Rola tonight.
If I know Pete, he scuttled off downstairs, last minute job, he pulled the plug on it, right, and ran upstairs and tipped into a glass.
Yeah,
Pete, you got to be a bit more salty. You got to more.
I don't know. I think Pete's probably opened it at lunchtime and probably opened 2 or 3 more.
No, Pete opened it at lunchtime. He wouldn't exist.
I don't know what's going on. Like, is probably his swimming pool is not warming up enough, or someone's like become like someone's come and pissed in the swimming pool. Something bad has happened over there.
Okay. Steve, Frank, we would agree. Look at this. Most of our wine rack is filled with Alentejo wines. That and the Lisboa region. Thank you very much. Frank, you're
Absolutely.
my only and favorite Persian. I thought that said person, but my only and favorite Persian. There are some great wines near you, Gary and Linda, and we're very proud of the Fundal Adega. Thank you, Joel, for those pictures.
I don't know about that because I always find our wines actually in our area are a bit rough. They're a bit agricultural.
Okay. And Costa de Crivella, where you went for a wine tasting, and where all are welcome to help pick, are amazing. So watch out for that in Costa de Crivella there. And Steve, happy with the Prazo de Roriz, lovely wine there. Yes, Gary, in answer to your question, I'll be in Portugal April the 8th to the 14th with my kids. So looking forward to meeting you, Charles, in person. Looking forward to a pint with all of you.
Well, we're definitely wherever Charles is in Portugal, we're definitely meeting, and we're all going to get together. We're all going to hang out together. It's going to be an amazing time when he
I
comes.
think so. Yeah, Nubianet is up for the Coimbra bus trip that you mentioned, Frank, as well.
Yes.
I like Rainwater Madeira. Now, Rainwater Madeira, that's the Madeira wine, a porty type wine, isn't it? Is Rainwater a brand, my friend Brab, who's watching in Sheffield in the UK?
What kind of cheese are we eating in Alvaegro today? What's going on over there, Garbo? Show us your little setup over there.
Sorry,
Yeah, Garbo is always organized. Garbo and Linda are always organized.
Well, we've done the cold meats. We've had the chorizo, the black pork chorizo, and now we're just doing a bit of cheese, and we've got some blue cheese here, which I'm about to go in with, because we like to do the wine on its own and then the food with the wine, because some wines are drinking wine, some wines are eating drinking wine, some are just one or the other.
Yeah, I'm joining you here with a bit of cheese.
Garbo, one combination I'll tell you of the season. It's that the really strong Serrano cheese with at Lidl they've got the sour cherry jam. Do that with the sour cherry jam and the Serrano cheese and one of those like hard breads, and you are going to love it. I know you and Linda are going to love it. Do that. There's some of the stronger cheeses with the sour cherry jam of the season is beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
See, I had myself a meats and cheese board earlier, but the dog was nagging me, so she ended up sharing it with me.
Oh,
you gave the dog cheese. Like, isn't the dog going to be farting all the time?
No, she
anyway,
farts,
right?
whatever.
Yeah.
4 hours farts anyways, right?
4 hours picking a 6-hour meal. Pop along if you need a workout before drinking as much as you like for free. That's the adega of the Encosta de Crivella that Pete's talking about there. And you can organize that with Philomena, Trips for Brits. Wow, this cheese board is really good that I picked up earlier on, going nicely with the Rola tonight. I tried to go to that winery. That's the Ancora Wines. Not able. It's shut by the time you got. That's a shame, Lisa. Vigna d'Italia Natural, or rather Vineyards. That's the one, isn't it?
That's the one, yeah. Well, it's typically Portuguese. You get there at 12 and they're just unlocking. And by 3 o'clock, they want to shut the doors again. So you've got to get there lunchtime or you won't get lunch. Or you've got to get there by sort of 6:30 to get a table at the evening. But they're not open like all day, every day. It's Portugal, you know?
Yes.
Well, the idea that I had is we could actually arrange something like this. There is this very nice jazz bar in Lisboa, and they also have a very good selection of wines over there. If we could do wine club gathering in that place, it will be amazing. They do all regional wines, and then they have amazing jazz, and the prosciutto and everything else is beautiful over there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that recommendation. That's what it's all about tonight, sharing information about our love of Portuguese wine and food, of course.
Absolutely.
That's a great question. We'll come back to that, Charles. And the wine that Joao's mum makes is only for people that go to Madeira. It doesn't travel well or doesn't get the chance to travel well. Can't buy it in the shop. Proper moonshine. There's Mama Mendonça's.
I'm going there, Joao. I'm going there.
20 degrees here and been here for about an hour, and the heat does it no favors. But the name is definitely appropriate. Pizza.
Pete's. You know what? I don't know what is going on. Like he's probably, there's something going on. Like he's probably got a stomach upset or something's going on.
It's a full moon, Frank. That's what it is.
Ah, of course. Okay. Let's hear more about the Rola then. So let's go back to you, Austins, who chose this tonight. We're going to come around to some marking, aren't we, as well at some point. And your decanter is being loved as well. So tell us a bit more about your experience of it tonight.
Can we see Gary's decanter, please? I want to see this decanter because this is
empty.
a decanter of love.
It's a lovely decanter because when you pour it in, it's really dramatic. It all goes down the sides in little streams of red rivulets and mixes and swirls. And
it's that's what I thought when I first bought one of those. I gave it away or lost it in my last house move. But it's a nice bit of kit to have in the house, isn't it? You kind of feel grown up having one of those.
Well, I don't think I'll ever feel grown up, but I suppose it's a step towards.
It's a concession towards maturity. Come on then, you Austins.
The wine, right. You know where my loyalties lie and what my favourites are. And I'm with the rest of you guys on the screen here, the Alentejo and the Tejo region, Southern wine. They just ring my bell because they're sexy and sweet and enticing. But this little chap tonight, right, it surprised me because it's completely the opposite for me. What Pete's saying, it's very, very smooth. It's very drinkable. You could drink it on its own, and it goes with cheese. It goes with the cold meats, and it's very civilized. It's a very civilized drink. I can't really say that I can't find anything about it I don't like. Probably it could do with a bit more nose. There's not too much in that department, but as far as taste and quality, yeah, well done, Rola wines.
So 1 to 10, 1 to 10. What's your mark there, Garbo? And then we're gonna have, and then I'm gonna ask you how many of these has Linda had already.
Okay, well we don't do 1 to 10, Frank. We do 1 to 5, and we regraded. We regraded how we did because everything was getting 4 point whatever it was, right? 5 would have to be the perfect wine. It would have to be amazing, right? Off the scales type of wine. Now this one. It's not amazing, but it is very accomplished, very civilized, and it tastes quality to me. So
yeah,
it's going to be around the 4 mark. It's going to be around the 4 mark, definitely on the 4. You know, the 5 being the perfect wine. One of the nicest Duros I've had.
Nice.
Well said, Linda.
I would say that I would give it a 4, and that's based on the fact that it is a Douro and it's probably one of the nicest Duros that I've tried. Very smooth, doesn't have much nose, and it doesn't have a long finish, but it is a very, very smooth, very pleasant wine to drink. And I think it's probably an eating wine rather than a sipping wine. But I'd give it a 4, based on the fact that it's a Douro.
Okay. As in, it's a Douro, as in that's not your preference or your favourite, generally speaking?
No, I prefer the Tejo wine area myself. I find the Douro wines can be a little bit Frenchified. Yeah.
In what sense?
In the sense that the flavour's a bit flat.
Oh, okay.
As
Right, yeah, not as robust. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, as opposed to
They're not as dramatic, are they?
No, the flavours are quite flat, a bit Frenchified in the fact that, you know, sort of like it's quite classic, sort of like.
I hear you.
Northern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Is that what you say it's an eating wine because you get flavours with it, other things?
Yeah, it complements food. You know, there's some wines that you can drink all day.
I've nicknamed lolly juice
wines and you enjoy them all day. This isn't really a sipping wine. It's a wine to have with a meal, and it would complement the meal because it's sort of like not sort of like the flavour is not too rich, so it's not going to overbalance when you're eating your food.
Does it go with stir fry?
I probably wouldn't have that.
Tell you what, I'm not kidding you. Linda's stir fry is amazing. You've got to try it because she's the stir fry queen.
The stir fry queen. I'd buy that book definitely.
There you go.
Okay. I will pick up and run with that, and then we'll.
So, Linda, are we on the second or are we on the third?
What's third?
Well, it's empty.
Oh, there you go.
Yes,
because these are such big glasses, it's hard to keep tabs really. But that would be 3 normal size glasses, I think.
All right.
The reason why I say that, as we obviously know, is because Linda's mark is the most important one. Because if Linda has had 2 of any wines, actually, is it 3 or is it 2?
The 3 glass threshold.
This is my third.
Yeah, if she's on the third one, that basically means the wine is passable, and that will go with the mark. So I think this wine is a good 4.25. If I was generous, Garbo.
I reckon what you need to do here, right, is a close up on Linda's face because that always does the telltale. You know, when she takes a drink of it, because you've seen the bad wine she has. It's like,
oh yes,
she physically backs away from it. But
yes.
There's none of that going on here tonight.
Very kinesthetic, very kinesthetic approach.
She's enjoying it.
We will come back to your Giulietta, Frank, for a ranking, and we will also ask Andrew to rate his grapes tonight as well. And of course, anyone else who wants to comment more, join us on the screen or do let us know in the chat what you think about what you're drinking tonight. I think we've got Pete. Dare you give it out of 5? I'm going to pick up and run with what Linda's been saying. That hadn't occurred to me, Linda. Never been that big a fan of red wine. And of course, when you grow up in the UK, you drink a lot of French red, don't you? Generally speaking, and that had never occurred to me before that perhaps the French wines are a little bit flat in comparison to the robust Portuguese grapes, and that's what we've become used to, isn't it? And maybe that's what Pete is struggling with tonight. His palate has become much more used to something quite all singing and dancing, something very characterful.
But the southern wines are sweeter. They're noticeably sweet, and we all like a bit of sugar. So maybe Pete's a bit of a sweetie.
Yes, a bit of a sweet tooth there. So I absolutely hear what you're saying there.
Pete has his underwear is getting twisted. I think that's all.
And he's in a bunch, maybe. Okay. Now, when the first swig, the open and swig test was great, no fuminess, and I associate that fuminess with industrial production. So I thought I was onto some sophistication and a smaller vineyard here, not massive, great big stainless steel tanks stretching from one end of an A road to another for major production. I knew we were onto something a little bit finer here, and the price reflects that, of course, doesn't it? It's going to be a bit more expensive when it's not so mass produced, and I really like it. And now it's warmed up. I'm getting that Touriga Nacional little belt that you get at the beginning, but not in any aggressive way, and that is missing from this wine. And I think that's a good thing. You know, I've got used to that the aggression of Portuguese reds.
Carl, you know what's a good thing? It's the red as a tomato that you're looking like right now. That's a good thing. I know you're enjoying that wine because you're really getting into this.
What I like to do, I've got a grading system. When I'm as red as the red in a Portuguese flag, I'm having a good evening. And you can,
yes,
probably look like with the green graphics and the red face. I am a living Portuguese flag, but I really like this. And for me, it's a bit like your amphora wine, probably, Andy. I love the story. I just want to lean in and support an independent, a small winemaker. So I wanted this to go well, and I got a phone call from the commercial director, who didn't try and influence me in any way, which I was a bit disappointed about, but he didn't. And I really like this, and I tend to give it a big mark, don't I? Because I just want things to go well, and I give a people pleasing mark. I would say 4.25, 4.5 for this. And I also understand the dynamics of this Douro business, that they have to try harder. And that's I think, that 50-50. They have to try harder because they do. And perhaps Douro wines are a bit lazy. And this other thing, there is a prejudice that the Douro and the Dow are not as good wine regions. And there is a standing prejudice, I think, against them, and that's why they have to try harder as well. So I think they're up against it.
Well, the bread basket is Alentejo, right? So what they always say is that anything that comes from after Alentejo, anything that comes after that is after the superior Alentejo. Everything that comes after that is probably a 4 or 3.5 and whatever, because Alentejo does the more fuller wines.
And that's the benchmark, possibly. However, Frank,
That is the benchmark.
Had you ever heard of the Alentejo before you came to Portugal?
Never.
Had you heard of the Douro region before you came to Portugal?
Yes, I have.
That's what they're up against, isn't it? That's what happens.
They are.
Yeah, but that's also a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Gavo.
I think Alentejo wines, right, are starting to steal it from Douro now, because they've taken probably the best experiments of the Douro and mixed it with the southern sexiness and the depth of wine, and that's why it kind of fits both camps, because everybody's happy. You got the sweetness and the power of the central Alentejo wines, but the classiness and the subtleness then of a Douro. So that's why I think Alentejo wines are going up and up and up and up. They please everybody, really.
Yeah.
But Alentejo is the region which supplies not only the best wine, it also supplies the best food. It is the bread basket. It's just like in Italy, there's the region where obviously Bologna is the capital of that, where some of the best wine, some of the best food comes from there. And this is a lot of these European countries have that place where the best of the best, and this is what Alentejo is all about. It was funny when I was in Sevilla recently. I saw the jamón ibérico that they call jamón ibérico over there. That goes from. It's such a shame that it goes from Alentejo over there unprocessed. The Spaniards process it and they sell it as jamón ibérico. Meanwhile, it's a Portuguese product.
Wow. Shout out to Portugal.
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful product, because the thing is that these pigs are eating acorns and they're eating almonds. How can these pigs not be amazing? And when you eat, like you've had some of these steaks, it's unbelievable. The product in Portugal is unbelievable. We do some of the best stuff. It's just that it's a bit rough, and you have to get used to it. And once you get used to it, you understand the raw food, you understand the wine, you will be a part of the terra.
And that's why it's a good thing, Andy, right? Because it is undiscovered. And this probably is going on all over Europe. The most known region is not necessarily the best one.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I guess what makes it different is there's more sunshine more of the year. Maybe the soils are different in Alentejo and Algarve. Certainly, I know vines like poor quality soil. That seems to be their sort of kind of medium. But I mean, based on your comments, Carl and Gary, I would try this Rola. but it's got some work to do to catch up with what I already know I like from down south. Now, one thing I would say about Pete made a comment in there somewhere, and he said the best wines aren't sold; they're the ones that your friends make. I'm really inclined to agree with that. We've got some friends down in Montcarapash who grow their own vines from the strains of grapes that he's always liked, and blended his own wine. And oh my god, it's like I've called it lolly juice because it's strong and punchy and delicious and fantastic to drink or have with food. It's kind of a dual. So, like I said, the Alan Tesh wine also I find very samey. And like I said, I think the northern wines probably have some large kind of shoes to fill if they want to kind of walk with those. But I will try it based on your feedback.
Please do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I think it's wonderful because let me add this to the Portuguese Appreciation Society. Over here in Algarve, the kinds of the different variations of oranges that we have. When I do a lot of my cooking, one of the things that I've added to my cooking is not only because I do a lot of cooking with the spice, but one of the elements that I've added is the lemon and the orange peels from the fruits over here. Whenever I do any kind of cooking, I just throw the peels right in there, and you guys won't believe it takes the food to a completely different level. It makes the food sing. I am such a huge fan of obviously where I live, but the terra, what it produces is amazing product. We have amazing citrus fruits over here, especially in the Algarve.
Well, you can eat Algarve lemons like oranges. You can literally eat them. They're that sweet. They're amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, there you go. Good evening, people from Lee. So let's take a few more comments, and let's conclude with our scoring of the Rola here. Pete, really not a happy bunny. I'm inclined to think he's got a duff bottle of this, not drinking the same thing as us. 2 is pretty generous, but I will try it with some food tomorrow. Have you not eaten today? Maybe he's not eating.
Come on, Pete, brother. Come on.
Grumpy tonight, perhaps.
He's grumpy. He's grumpy. Maybe the wife's gone for a visit.
Neil Perkins, are you in Bognor? Because the beach at Bognor, they've really done a lot of work on that. It looks fantastic.
Nothing would make that look like Bognor.
Where is he then? It's in Vila do Frade near Vidigueira. Lovely place. That red was nice.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Good evening, Simon. Hello, mate. Good evening, Amonche Dovino. Very good. Neil Perkins, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to 3 Ps in the pod as well from Pete. Rosés are fruity light wines and great with lighter foods like a stir fry. Very cool. The best wines never make it to the shelf. Absolutely love the homemade wines.
Oh, it's the cheese.
Mrs. Emma's just walked in and just
Hi,
stepped
Louisa.
back.
Hey, you!
Hi, Louisa.
Hey, Louisa.
It's the troublemaker.
It's the cheese. Are you going to go on the other side and join me?
I'm just running above.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it is the cheese. It is actually the cheese. Nubionette, the beautiful thing about living in a wine-producing area is the privilege of tasting someone's art so easily. I'm open to all styles. Isn't that fantastic?
That is a very good mindset.
Argument.
Yeah. What's up with Mrs. M? Why are you laughing so much over there?
It looks like a ball because I've got my hair tied back.
Yes. If you're not, can you go and put your wig on and then come back? Okay.
What was it?
What?
The privilege of someone's art. When you said that, I thought
No, I'm turning your mic.
No, they didn't say fart, Mrs. M.
Why does she have
to
to come in and then just start with that stuff? You're not sorry at all. I drove from the Alentejo from Algarve to Evra. That sounds like a lovely drive. Joao, the picture we see there, this is Mama Mendonça's winemaking. Love this picture. Thank you so much for sending it in, Joao.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that lovely? It's I love you, Mum. It's that a CD to scare away the birds that's above her head there. It's the entrance to the house, just made 80 litres for last summer.
Is that a Des O'Connor CD?
It's a what? Des O'Connor.
Jean, you make 80 liters of that and you don't send me a bottle. That's great.
we're a bit miffed about
Mind
that.
you,
Don't
80
you
litres
actually
for the
want to-
summer. Come on, that's the metric, isn't it?
Can't you all test Senora Mendoza's red wine?
You have to go to Madeira. He won't let us.
Ah, okay.
Is what he
fair
said
enough.
there. Yeah, it's fair enough, isn't it? There's a festival, Neil Perkins, every year
Ooh.
for the new white. It's drunk whilst very young, not to everyone's taste. Just like a Viña Verde. It has the taste of pine sap, quite sharp. Something to drink due to the heritage, not all year. Why are you all giggling?
No, I
Abel
agree. It's like mulled wine. I can't stand mulled wine. It's the most repugnant thing I've ever drunk, to be fair.
Why?
contextual, though, right? You need to be.
But it's festival, yeah, it's tradition. Doesn't mean it has to be.
Bro, it's all the up north, all the Christmas markets do the mulled wine. That's beautiful. Come on.
No, he's right though. Andy's right. And come to think of it, it reminds me of being frozen and waiting for women to stop shopping.
Looks like Gary wants to ask a question.
He's doing his Benny Hill Cosmos
Go,
Small.
Gary.
No, just a quick question. Right? Do the Portuguese have a version of mead? Because there's a lot of honey in
Yes, they
Portugal.
do.
Yeah,
They
there's a
do.
lot of honey
They
here,
do.
isn't
They
there?
definitely do. We've talked about this.
In fact, Lee brought me a bottle of mead round to do one man cave, which we had to drink after drinking beer. So, you know, they say wine and beer is queer.
Yeah.
Well, we had to do beer then mead. I don't know what the acronym for
Yes,
that.
What rhymes with that?
What's your peed?
But they had
Yeah.
a bad head the next day.
So
Makes you feel queer.
okay, so the thing is, this was like proper mead. Like, what percentage of alcohol were we talking about here?
I mean, mead is it's kind of a teenage wine, isn't it? Because it's
No.
it's diluted with kind of what honey and all sorts of things, isn't it?
Mead's lethal if you have eaten the right.
Honey. It's made of
If you
honey.
have enough of it, anything is lethal.
I think you might have tried a kind of baby sham version of mead.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably not very nice, but
Yeah, called mead you like or something like that. A
yeah.
real mead is a good drink, I think.
We had quite a few bottles of mead given to us at our wedding, didn't we?
did,
We had
didn't
a lot
we?
of hippies going.
I don't remember anything about that though. Hello, folks. My late. Did I consummate? I haven't asked you. Did I manage to consummate? No. Hello.
Not until 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day.
Well, okay. Hello, folks. My late father was a winemaker. Abel, a lovely honouring of your father tonight. Winemaker in the Douro region of Viseu. Pete's Castelo Branco and Fundao are famous for their cherries, not wine.
Oh, that's a bit of a side swipe, isn't it?
Oh, Pete.
Rough.
We're having 3 cheese semolina bread with our wine, but of course it's 3 in the afternoon here. Good for you, you lushes in
Why not?
Chicago.
Good for you, you and Tammy.
You must look. Pete's pushing back at Abel, but you have to try them. And as I said, the best wines aren't sold to the public. Yes, and all of us like to think in some way we're not the public, right? What do you guys think of Quinta de Carmo? Garbo, did you not have us try this one evening?
I think we have done that one, and I think it came out pretty good. My memory serves me right.
It's a big one, though, isn't it? It's a big producer, Carmo, isn't it? It's one of the
But a lot of these, based on what you guys were saying, a lot of these wines are not sold in the UK, right?
No one
True.
knows.
Well said, yeah. Not at all. Portuguese they get occasionally, don't they? Or expensive Douros, I guess. When you put your wine in that style of decanter, you think you lost half a bottle. Yes! So true, Michael Whitby.
Do you know what? Everyone looks so good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like everyone's got nice lighting today.
Yes. Yeah. And do you feel the same way?
No,
You've definitely
Gary
got...
and Linda look great. I'd
you've
love
got-
to see like the reverse of what their setup is.
Yeah. You've got that hostage video look going
Yeah,
on.
I do.
haven't you? Yeah.
Anyway, I need to go and have my
All
lovely
right.
bath. But love to you guys.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest
All
of
right.
the day.
Lisa.
Oh, and to everyone else.
All
See you
right.
later, darling.
All right. Well, I'm certainly prepared to accept that it doesn't pair well with the Marlborough Lights. Okay, yeah, fair enough. 4.25 then. Steve reiterating your score there, Linda. We're going to call it the Linda scale. Well said. 4.24.
It is the Linda scale. It has always been the Linda scale. If
Always
it's 3,
been.
then that means that it's approved.
Yeah. Gary
Well,
Linda,
Linda's just said, right, she just said, she looked at the glass, she said, oh, there's no more left. So,
very good. 4.35 suddenly.
4.35.
Isn't it lovely and drinkable? It is.
very nice.
It's a
Yeah,
convivial
I've
wine.
enjoyed it.
Yep. Gary and Linda very classy when drinking their wine.
well done, Anna.
Yeah.
They always are.
Who's this? Who's on Facebook saying this?
I'm going to disagree with it.
Listen, you little thief. And tell us who you are.
I'm going to disagree because in Alentejo, that Honrado is a Roman winery. It's 2,000 years old. It's as old as the hills, literally, it's built on. So, crap.
There you go. Yeah, take that.
You have to point out, though, Andy, that Roman wine was pretty strong stuff. And it was some of it was over 20%, so they had to ban it because everybody was getting mullered. So,
I mean, it's funny because I went to explore some ruins because nearby there's a fabulous Roman villa ruins near the Honrado vineyard, and it's kind of put this thought into it. It's like even 2,000 years ago, people coming to live in the sunshine and making wine. And it's like it hasn't changed much really in 2,000 years, has it? And the fundamental part of things.
No.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you, Mr. Gilchrist, one thing. The wines were so strong that the Romans, it actually made them polyamorous, which is amazing. Because the thing is that, they loved everyone.
Is that what it was down to, the Roman wines?
The Roman wines are, it's one of the first elixirs for lovemaking. As far as civilization knows it.
Look
at Andy Gilchrist giggling like a little girl.
No, I need to go and get more wine, clearly.
Look at him.
But I mean, most alcohol makes you polyamorous, doesn't it? It's like, oh, mate.
Absolutely.
I love you, mate.
Absolutely.
Finally.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Next thing you know, you're holding hands in a sauna.
Having tasted wines from Galicia to the Algarve. Michael, serious comment from Michael Whitby, who is a winemaker. We can say that this country has the most amazing variety of very drinkable wines. By the way, I am a winemaker. Now, I did a little bit of a presentation on Saturday night about where Portugal is in the kind of whole migration stakes spectrum. Are we celebrating Portuguese wines here, and things will be very different in 10 or 20 years' time?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah,
we are celebrating Portuguese wines because I've just been blown away by the quality of the wine that they produce here in Portugal.
But will it stay that way, Linda?
I was never a big wine drinker until I came here.
No.
Well, I can add something to that because I was only ever a red wine drinker, right? Back in the UK, red wine, everything else, even rosés, throw them away, no good. Come here, I can have them all. I can have red, white, rosé, and they're all delicious.
But will it stay? I mean, the question I'm asking is this a special time we will look back at as the undiscovered time of Portuguese wine?
No, I think this is a lifestyle. What we're basically talking about is in Portugal a few things. You don't mess with the food, you don't mess with the wine, and people really don't care if they're not making North American or Northern European money. As long as the food remains the same, that is the quality of life that we are all about in the
Yes, and one of these, and some of this,
and we don't give a toss about how much you're making and what kind of car you're driving. Because I drink better than you and I eat better than you. So
and live
see you
better.
later.
And I'm just happy
better.
here. I'm happy. Yes,
And I'm just happy here.
Yes, here we go. Something else for you, possibly, Andy. Alentejo wines are not the best Portuguese wines. Who are you?
I'm going to reply to this again. I've lived in Australia.
Who is this clown?
Listen, I've lived in Australia, and I'm going to say to you one word, and that is Shiraz. Australian red Shiraz is very, very nice and drinkable. So if he says Alentejo wines are kind of more like Australian, I'll go with that. Yeah, Shiraz particularly I like from Australia. There's a really nice bottle which you can get everywhere called Thomas Mitchell Shiraz. Give that a whirl. I like it, and but yeah, I mean, I'll take that as a compliment. But it's a Portuguese wine. That's what they do here, like Alentejo and Algarve.
Did you all know Andy is partially Persian?
Well, I mean, look, I'm a human of the planet Earth. You know, I appreciate things from all over, and you know, but given the choice,
that's why I love you.
Thank you, I love you too, Frank. But given the choice. I'm gonna put a tip of a glass of Alentejo or Algarve Red in my throat before I'll tip something like white wine or a French wine in my throat for sure. Australian Red, nothing wrong with that.
I have not. Here's the thing. Here's the honest truth, and it's a good thing that you brought. I have not had a French wine in the past 4 years. Or 3.5 years.
I heard
only thing I've been drinking is Portuguese wines, because I think the quality, and this is to anyone who is moving over here, wants to move over here, will want to move over here, and wants to be a part of this lifestyle. I'll tell you one thing: you will forget about everywhere else. The wine is not only affordable, the quality is so high that it outdoes every other product out there. So once you come over here, you're going to be drinking this wine with us. You're going to buy a bottle of wine for $2.50, and you're going to thank Frank, Carlito, Garvo, and Andy on the screen over here, and Linda, and you're going to be like, thank God for that show.
Yes, thank you for that. That is going to be clipped out of the show and held up for all the world to hear, and then come to Portugal and taste the wines you're talking about. That's fantastic. Thank you. This is an interesting comment from Mr. Perkins. The Douro wins more medals than the Alentejo. Portuguese tend to vote Douro as #1 quality wine, oldest region, and vine. Saying this, I still love the Alentejo wine. We know you have a special fondness for the Alentejo.
But the thing is, it's like who gave it the medal? Do you know? I mean, is it someone from the north, or is it someone from another country? Like, I don't know, when you can start hanging medals and prizes on things, it's like, according to who?
Conspiracy theorists.
Well, I mean, I like what I like. I like the full body. I like the big punchy flavors. I like a red wine.
That's what we become, right, Andy? We become like picky over here. So what we do is, because the regions are so amazing and the soil is so fertile, depending on the region that you like and depending on your taste buds, you go, all right, so I like my Douro, or I like my Alentejo, I like my Setúbal, I like my whatever. And then it's a mix of all the different grape varietals. It's a beautiful country to be able to drink your wine.
Frank, is it true that Emmanuel Macron wrote to you wondering why you hadn't been drinking any French wines for 4 years?
He did, and I told him to buzz off. I told him to
go hang out with
mind his own business. Yes. We're running a country over here, and we're serious about what we do over here. In this
I'm with Frank, because I haven't drunk a French wine for maybe 10 plus years. I just never enjoyed it. And they're always held up as the standard of good wine. But to me, they just rough. They taste rough. They taste, I don't know, too dry, too tanniny, too, just come here, right? And you've got so much more choice. And the important thing is, you don't compare Douro with an Alentejo. You don't compare Alentejo with a Douro, because they are very, very different styles, different soils, because Portugal's a little country, but it changes so much in such a short space.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Here's the juice tonight. Talking of
Garbo, you're a poet. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So go ahead, Linda. Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, it is down to personal taste. All the regions of Portugal have got something to offer. Mm-hmm. But, some people prefer the Douro wine, some people the Douro, some the Alentejo, some the Setúbal wines. And it is down to your taste buds.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But I enjoy all of those wines from all of those regions, and I'm just absolutely overwhelmed by the quality of the Portuguese wines. They just are really, really good.
They're just damn good.
Except perhaps in this local area, which is just awful. The wines here are awful.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's because, first of all, is the problem. It's there are certain pockets, and I've heard this. There are certain pockets that don't do very, very good wine, but when you go, here's the thing, Linda, and I know that you will agree with me on this. When we go to our local grocery store, like when we go to a Pingo Doce or when we go to a Continent, how often is it that we can get a beautiful bottle of wine from any region for a very good price, and we can like enjoy it. We can say to ourselves, it doesn't matter which pocket I'm in. I have access to amazing wines for less than $3.
Yeah.
This is the brilliance of this country, where you can go and let's say you go to your local restaurant, you go to your local tashka, and you have a full 3-course meal, and you order the Vinho da Casa, and the Vinho da Casa is going to be brilliant. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And this is what we're talking about in this country.
Hell yeah. Very good, Frank. Thank you for that. It's a glowing endorsement of the life here. And I'm wondering, how long it will stay like that, I have to say. And a little bit of a culinary tip here. You might agree or not, Frank here. When Mediterranean food isn't tasting right, add lemon juice. When Mexican food isn't tasting right, add lime juice as a rule of thumb. Hola, Viñeros from Ubi.
Who is this? Who is this?
That's Michael Whitney, who's a winemaker and a bit of a dab hand in the kitchen by the sound of it. How am I going to convince you all to go to Madeira? You'll not be disappointed. That's not difficult. I'm very happy to go to Madeira and the Azores.
Eventually,
I'm very happy. We should take a tour to Madeira. We should all go to Madeira together.
Yeah.
Why don't we let all our houses out to people who need D7 rental agreements and just go to all these places we're talking about?
Can I just rent them by the
room? I
room?
think it's a great idea, Red Carlito.
Red Carlito, you're making me sound like some kind of revolutionary.
Yeah, he's got a point there, because that glass behind you on the left, as I'm seeing it, you've actually gone redder than that. That's better. You're heading to that one now.
What about that one?
You got a bit of a way to go to that one, but somewhere between those two.
I swear to God, Garbo, when this guy likes his wine, look at him. He goes
lights up like a beacon.
Red.
Yeah.
You've got a good milk and circulation.
Mulled wine. Yeah, typical Asian, exactly. Mulled wine is good wine. I haven't got the digestive enzymes as all you Europeans have. Mulled wine is good wine ruined. Agree with Andrew there. Mead is more beerish. Mad. Lots of mead made in Wales. There's lovely. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fabulous. Mead is med in Welsh, and medwi means drunk. So there you go. There are the roots of mead.
Nice one. Doug, you should know that.
The CD was Des O'Connor, Tom Jones, or Lulu. It's not unusual. There you go. And apparently the CD is a little way. They see their own little face in the reflection of a CD. Or they
I wonder if Doug has any good Tom Jones stories, because he must.
Probably. He's probably met Tom Jones. In fact, do you know what?
He probably, like, one of my idols, and I think this is exactly why. Like, when I saw him in Algarve, I never got to interview him, because the thing is, I was so in awe of his jacket.
You two have got beef at the moment. Let's just not avoid the issue here. You guys got beef going on at the moment. Beef in
No, we don't. There's a love affair.
When you said he's an idol of yours, you did mean Doug and not Tom Jones, right?
Both
an idol and a small carved wooden doll that he can stab.
That's what he meant, Tom Jones.
He's talking about Douglas. He's talking about Dougie himself. Maybe the lizards see that it's a Des O'Connor CD and run them.
Well, maybe if Dougie wouldn't bring his gas guzzler like Jaguar all over the place.
Is that the problem? Is that the problem? As a kind of the Algarve's Greta Thunberg, you've got beef with Doug because of his gas guzzling habits. Is that right?
No, I don't. My biggest problem is that when you bring a vehicle like that anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's a UK, whatever, it's a planet. We are world citizens. Whenever you are driving that kind of atrocity anywhere, it does not belong on this earth anymore. Well, you should be driving. I'm not saying you should be driving electronic vehicles, but drive something that saves the earth instead of kills the earth as I'm talking to you.
Oh my God. This is the in case you've just tuned in, this is the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club and not Greta Thunberg at the World Economic Forum.
And watching Andy's face is wincing, him being a Land Rover person.
That's right. Frank is about to glue himself to the screen until we stop it. I think distilled some honey and banana wine, mead over 20%.
Stop it.
And does polyamorous mean parrot love? Well, it could mean a cockatoo, couldn't it?
Yeah, could be a cockatoo.
Takes a lot of water distilling wine. That's why it's a good. That's why a good sauce is essential. SOURCE. There, you're a bit of a brewer yourself, then, Simon. That's fantastic. 10 to 20 years even affects the style of French wines. Time changes everything. You see, enjoy it. We are in a particular time in history, aren't we?
Yeah,
We're
but who wants to wait 20 years for wine?
Oh, my wine now.
They're
Look
saying
at Linda. She wants her wine right now.
They're saying now English white grapes, because they're so bitter and sharp, that they make the best champagne.
That's kind of
just
kind
like
of
the people.
to the British
Just
people.
like the
really.
people.
Yeah,
Just like the people in England, bitter and sharp, and they make.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Regardless of the Brexit jibe, I'll tell you.
No. Oh no!
A lot of good things. No. I was reading the other day. A lot of good things are coming out of Britain these days, and it's not just the politicians. There's a lot of great things that are coming out of Britain these days.
Yeah, people.
And we have to appreciate, especially Rishi Sunak and his.
I think there's a massive tongue in a cheek here.
No one likes Rishi Sunak here.
I
hold
don't
know. No, hold on. I've got a sound effect for that as well. Does anyone like Rishi Sunak?
What you need is that blowing wind with a distant church bell.
Definitely.
Oh, guys, come on.
All right.
Your first Indian Prime Minister, and this is how you're going to do it.
Oh,
That's
give
great.
over. Anyone know? Yeah. I mean, what are you saying?
In that question, yes.
Yeah, we know
it's just up the road from us. Yeah. So, what do you want to know?
What does it mean?
What? For me, it's like, is he going to be another Justin Trudeau?
Yes,
Justin Timberlake that we have in Canada. Is he going to be one of those, or is he going to change?
No, he's a West man through and through. But let's not dwell on that right now. Figueiro de Chvinhos. Anyone know anything about this place? Yes, just up the road from Linda and Gary.
It's a nice little place to go. It was actually an old resort town for some reason, but it's got that element of faded glory about it, and it's in a lovely position because you're up there at the top of the not mountains but the hills, altitude, and then a bit further on you go to Castanera de Pera. You can come back towards us, and it's just got a charm of its own. And of course, there's the Museum of Maloa from down your way. Yeah, got river beaches around there.
So Garvo, let me ask you a question. The property that you're living in right now, like especially the basement, have you made any improvements to the strip joint downstairs?
Oh yes, we put some. Andy will tell you.
Man cave, I think you mean.
Man cave. Sorry, man cave. Sorry, my apologies, Garvo.
Very seedy lighting in there, mate. It looks even more now darker than it did before.
I have told you I have to interview you in that space. That space is so sacred, and especially right next to that pole with that clapper thing that you've got going down. Is it still there?
Brilliant memories, Frank. I thought we'd forgotten all about that.
I've got a box that's representative of Gary's man cave. Yeah, let me hold this up.
Oh, look at that!
You can see that it's something like this one here in the.
Who doesn't like? Hold on a minute. You can have the full screen for this.
Oh.
So it's called. So like this one here. It's like a very colourful.
What are you going to be doing with that? I hope that's to go in a wardrobe, isn't it?
Well, I put these in the kitchen.
Okay. Of course you are. All right. So Mama Mendoza. My Mendoza also makes nice vinegar extract from the wine as well. Oh, you can bring that back. If we can't have wine, you can bring some vinegar back.
Could be.
Although you don't want that breaking.
I would love to enjoy that.
But if that breaks over your clothes inside your luggage, that's going to be nasty, isn't it? Dripping out of the overhead cabin. Wines are horses for courses. We all like what we like. No one is wrong and no one is right.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Dougie, you know what? This is the first time you and I agree on things.
No, this is like woke wine course. Everything's fine. No, it's not. That's not true.
Absolutely.
Come on. Some people like French wine, some like Portuguese, some like Chilean.
That's true.
Well, it's true. I mean,
Dougie's on fire today.
He is. How many emissions there would come from Dougie being on fire? I wonder. And you're going to give him a hard time about that? Does it mean fig trees of wine? Great.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Portugal is smart like the French, blending their varieties to make exceptional wines. Making incredible single grape wines requires exceptional grapes. Good point, Michael. Thank goodness there's a grown-up here tonight.
Very good, Michael.
When it comes to the wine analysis. And finally, don't forget Madeira wine. Okay. International wine, grape juice fig trees. I think Ubi's liking the sound of this place. International wine competitions and professional panels of judges from around the world, not Portuguese, generally speaking, that is giving the Douro the medals.
Okay.
Vintners know their terroir and know what varietals can stand on their own. They also know what to blend. Michael, we need you on the screen with us here. Syrah Shiraz is the wine.
Where is Michael? How come he's not on the screen right now?
He is in delightful Cezanne.
Come on, Michael, get on the screen.
Am I right in thinking there's also a white Shiraz as well as a red?
There is. Yes, there is.
There is.
So,
but red Shiraz, Australian red Shiraz, nice.
I like a lot of Australian wines, and that probably shows in the similarity to the southern wines you're talking about, and that's.
How did Shiraz become white, guys?
Yeah, it's a white Shiraz version, I think.
White trace grape, I think.
There's a red and a white. I'm sure there is.
There isn't necessarily a white varietal. I haven't heard of a white varietal.
Frank, you haven't been listening, have you? Don't you remember what's his name, Louis Pateau? He made was it a?
Oh, he was so annoying. I didn't listen to him.
No. He made was it a white wine over a red grape or the other way around?
Go ahead.
The man worked magic. He can make a white wine from a red grape.
Yeah. Okay. Andy's working on something here. Look, Lisa's going to be in Madeira. Joao, do you think you can fix it for Lisa? That's probably not the best phrase to use these days, but do you think you'll be able to organise a tasting of your mum's red for Lisa, our friend Lisa, in May?
Do it, Joao.
Can you manage that for us?
And this is the woman you want to listen to because she's far more experienced.
She knows a thing or two about wine, doesn't she? Yeah. And Mrs. M said to me, "How long are you going to be doing this wine club tonight? 2 hours?" And I said, "No way. Only an hour probably." And guess what? We're coming up to 2 hours, aren't we? And Michael, wave to me if you'd like me to bring you onto the screen to talk with us.
Come on, Michael. Come on. There you go.
Look at you, Michael. Good evening to you. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, you've got to turn Facebook or YouTube off.
Let's welcome Michael without any
little bit of an issue
on him.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, good evening to you. Thank you so much for your erudite contributions. And Catherine, good evening.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, Catherine. How are you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us. Winemakers.
Yeah, there you go.
Say that again.
My child bride.
Oh, excellent. Good work.
Of course, good work. You've done all right, man.
You make wine together as well?
We all approve.
Actually, we do. We probably make about between 60 and 100 gallons a year.
Where?
In Northeast Washington.
Northeast Washington, as in Northeast Washington in the United States, or Washington near Tyne and Wear in the UK?
No, United States of Asparagus, right up in the northeast
corner. States of Asparagus, fantastic.
Below the Canadian border.
Okay, but that's not an American accent we're hearing there, is it?
Wales.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well done,
but I don't have a Welsh accent.
No.
He may just be Canadian, you know, this guy.
No, I'm Muggy. Catherine is Canadian.
We're both Canadians.
There you go. You've got a perfect Canadian over there.
American.
This is how the world works properly.
Yeah.
I have 3 passports.
He thinks he's James Bond.
It sounds like, and a wad of passports, a wad of cash, a couple of guns underneath.
No
guns. Got a flare gun that could make a nasty hole in your belly.
A flare gun's enough, isn't it, to put the sort of
nice one.
So, Michael, tell us about your experience of Portuguese wines. You're a big fan by the sound of it.
Well, we are. Our first experience with Portuguese wines was about 4 years ago, we did a motorcycle trip through Spain and Portugal for about 3 months. And that's a little difficult to do wine tasting when you're on a motorbike.
Yeah, so it should be.
We'd get glued in places, and we were really impressed with the wines, particularly once we got out of Alentejo and moved north. Out of the Algarve and started to move north. It was really great. And we would have gone further north that year, except the weather got lousy, so we headed directly northwest and went up to Rioja, which is not a bad place to be either. So, but about 14 months ago, we were here for 2 months and spent an inordinate amount of time in the Alentejo and all the way from the top, as I said, from Galicia down to
So Simbra is the farthest south.
The furthest south that time, yeah. So we had a great experience with wines, and we make wine. We drink a lot of wine at home, so it was great to get out and taste incredible wines for an absolutely unbelievable price for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider you can get a world-class wine in any of these, we have discussions whether Douro or Alentejos are the best, but to be able to go into a supermarket and buy a wine of this quality for €5, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's the one you're drinking tonight, right?
That's what we're drinking now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So can you elaborate on this situation tonight, where the Douro, I think, has had an inordinately hard time? What's your view on that?
I think their wines are. I don't think they spend too much time trying to make them for the masses. Alentejo wines are great. You can give it to anybody, and anybody who likes a Bordeaux wine is going to drink an Alentejo wine and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
They're going to like them. When you drink a Douro wine, you've got to look at what goes into it. I mean, Touriga Nacional is all over the country, but it's the terroir of that grape. It's the same with you take a cab. It doesn't matter where you grow it; it's going to taste different everywhere you grow it. So the wines are going to taste different. You have to appreciate it for the region it came from. And we were in a little cafe up in town, December here. We hadn't been to it before. It was on the east side of town, a little cafe, backstreet cafe. We asked for a couple of glasses of wine, and he brought it out. And I said, "Where's it from?" He said, "Douro." I said, "Oh, you choose Douro wines to serve?" He said, "Yeah, they're the best." So what do you mean? He said, "They're robust." Mm-hmm. And that didn't seem right to me. It didn't seem like they're robust. I mean, they seemed a little softer in places, but still they're great wines for themselves.
But I think the point is too, everybody that tastes wine their opinion should matter. And so what you like is what you are, it's fine. It's not, oh, well, the wonderful palate people say this. If you like a wine or don't like a wine, your opinion is valid.
Yeah. Fair enough. And even if you like rosé with stir fry, right? People should just leave you alone. Yeah.
Or me.
Absolutely. This is why we've got two Canadians on the panel here.
I'm coming in there, right? I've got to come in there, right? I can't take that on the chin. I've got to punch back on this one, right? If you look at the example of muscatel wine, which is the sweet wine, the dessert wine, you have that with something sweet. Yeah, you don't have it with something sharp or whatever. And the idea is to balance the sugars, so the flavor of what you're eating gets amplified. Yeah.
Right.
Now, with a lot of Chinese food, remember, some of their sauces are made with honey.
You're still going at it, Garbo. Go ahead.
Some of their sauces are made with honey, which are sweet. So you're going to try and balance that sweetness, aren't you, to get the flavor of the food to come through. And that's what a rosé can do, because rosés can be dry, they can be quite sweet. And that's where it meets that nice middle ground.
But that's right. But then you can take those same grape, the muscatel, and you can get Stubel wines, and you taste them, and you can taste the muscatel, but they've made a very nice drinkable white. It needs to be very cold, which is not unusual for whites, but they've made an exceptionally good wine, and I would say it's not sweet. it's fruity, and I don't think it's sweet. They've managed to be able to make a wine that really is a good table wine out of a grape that normally you'd say, well, that's a dessert wine. And I don't think that's the case with the wines from Stubel.
Yeah.
Well said.
A lot of
Okay,
people-
thank you for that.
A lot of people run from dessert wines. We don't understand, especially the British. We don't understand the concept of dessert wines.
Oh, God, no. I've got some incredible late harvest Rieslings and stuff that's grown up in British Columbia and even in Washington. And they're amazing. When people taste them,
Yes.
they would say, well, we don't like sweet wines, but taste this.
Yeah.
You know, and thank God they make them
Well, it's
$3.75
the,
bottles.
the thing is with certain ethnic foods, like let's say, for example, something like Indian food or Indian or Pakistani food, nothing goes well except I have found one wine, which is the Gewürztraminer, which is the German wine.
Crackling.
And that is the only one that sings well every time. Other than that, there is no. I have not found white wine or anything to that effect that works better than that one. And it's sometimes you kind of find that you have to understand, your palate has to understand what you're consuming for you to be able to marry the alcohol with it, with certain foods, and like let's say Indian, Pakistani foods, because this is the only bit of alcohol that I think works with it. Because usually with that food you have something that is like fermented milk or yogurt or whatever kind of drink. This is the only kind of alcohol that works with it.
No, there's another one as well.
Which
Beer.
is the other one?
Beer.
Beer. Beer and Indian food goes down great. I would never drink a Gewürztraminer with Indian food. I think it'd be a waste of a really great wine.
I know, but the thing is, if whenever you go to the Taj in Mumbai, this is the one wine that they will always serve with their food. And I know it's the Kingfisher beer and all that kind of stuff. I actually don't think any kind of alcohol goes well with Indian or Pakistani food.
No.
The only thing that goes well is a lassi.
Yeah.
No.
A which?
A lassi.
Oh yeah.
which basically takes care of the spice. So there isn't meant to be any alcohol, but if you're going to do alcohol, I found that is the best one to do. And especially I was reading an article at the Taj when they were saying that they are going to do a specific kind of Gewürztraminer. I was like, all right, so they're on to something. And I tried it and it actually worked out well.
Yeah.
Nice one, Frank. Okay, we're coming to 2 hours. It's incredible, isn't it? We've been talking.
I would agree with that beer and curry statement, by the way. A real ale and curry.
You like that?
Someone was
IPA.
told me cider. Cider is the best thing.
Andy loves it.
Doug's with Frank on this. Get a room, you two, or get an electric vehicle, you two, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're right, Lisa.
We have an electric vehicle.
Yeah, that's
Something sweet with a spicy food is what Lisa's recommending. And this couple of great comments, Portugal-related comments. There's some doubt whether the Austins are actually in Portugal. Why have Linda and Gary got empty glasses? Are they really in Portugal?
I can answer that. I'm trying desperately not to open the other bottle of Rola.
I know.
Do it. Go, do it, man. Come on.
And look at this. Talking of Portugal, this is Portuguese hospitality. I said to João, is it possible when Lisa's in Madeira that she can try some of your mum's wine? João comes back. Lisa, get my WhatsApp from Carl and I'll arrange something when you go over. Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy.
He is that kind of guy.
amazing.
He's
Right
nice.
being a Chelsea fan, Frank. And a bit of a drinking game going on
Well, he's
here.
not a full twat, you know.
Is that the technical term? Next wine tasting, I would drink every time the word terroir is used, twice if it's pronounced correctly. Now, did I pronounce
Have we used that word today?
I think it's been said 3 times, so Ubi could be
It's
plus.
been 3 times. You actually pronounce it properly. I pronounce it properly.
Depends if you're trying to say it in French
And
or
don't leave Gary or more Andy to pronounce. So
You had it right.
we'll have to drink more.
Emmanuel Macron is so angry with you, Frank. Anyway, you've got a lot of work to do, I think, to impress the British.
Oh, he's an idiot, anyways.
And the French Prime Minister. Okay, an ad hominem attack there on the French president or the French press with his own TV show coming out soon. Folks, sorry, go on.
I could afford Macron.
And plus my own prime minister, idiot.
All right, Frank, easy on Justin Trudeau. He's doing his best. Michael, what was that?
Nice hair, though.
I just wish I could afford
twice.
I just wish I could afford the wines Macron is drinking. So that would be
indeed.
Great.
Yes, well, as in macroeconomics, I think.
Yeah, Macron.
Thank you very much. Last words to everybody.
This red Carl.
We're coming up to 10 o'clock. Let's start with you, Andy.
No, I'm going to say you've forgotten something. Whoa. Charles posted a question.
Oh, yes, he did pairings. Okay, these are the last words then. So as well as saying your last words about what you've been drinking tonight, please also talk about, and I have a starred comment here, which is what's your favorite pairings with red? So let's start with you, Andy.
Okay, if I'm down south, using my best Surrey accent, I would say Javelin with local red.
Oh, that's the wild boar.
Outstanding Javelin and red wine, and also some locally distilled aguardent to wash it all down with.
Very nice. And anything you want to say about the grapes or how much you've enjoyed yourself this evening?
I've enjoyed myself immensely. Please like, subscribe. If you consider donating to Carl's Ko-fi, please do so.
Oh, well said.
Don't forget, tune in every morning, Greenwich Mean Time, 8:30 a.m. to the Good Morning Show. And
cheers. And also, tune into the Man Cave if you like your conversation spicy, and with beer on the side, then join the Man Cave on a Friday evening.
It's the curry of internet shows. You're very welcome. Basically, I've really enjoyed turning it when I can. I would say I'm going to try that Douro Rola because of sentiments. And I saw on the website, on the interwebs, there's many different versions of Rola, some Reserva, some normal, some rosé. They do a whole bunch of things.
This is your basic. This is the basic one, not the
basic Rola. Okay. But I mean, I would say if you do get to try the Amrado vineyards or anything from down south, you won't be disappointed if you like something with a bit more body and punch, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Lord Gilchrist of Surrey and now of Lisbon. Let's go to another titled person. What do we call you? Archduke Frank of the Algarve. Frank, what do you have to say about this evening and your pairings with red?
Can you be nice about this? I'm about to get my MBE here. Like, can you take it easy over here?
You came so close to getting your MBE.
Yeah, I came very close last year, and you ruined it for me, by the way.
I think the Queen ruined it for you, actually. To be fair, but I mean, what we
Quaver, you ruined it for me. Why don't you admit it as a friend? Why don't you admit it on camera?
I don't remember what I did to ruin your chances of getting
there is a rumor, Frank, that the Queen, when she passed away, had a little note in her hand, and when they opened it, it says, "Please give Frank an OBE."
That's what I heard. She gave it to Philip Schofield, didn't she? And yes, he was so jealous that he destroyed the note. Yes,
destroyed the note, and you guys have been pissing on my party for a while, and I've been wanting the MBE for a bit.
You can know in your heart she wanted you to have one, and yet that can be our special secret. What do
Frank, I'll have a word, Frank.
Chucky ain't giving it to me because he don't like me.
I think that's probably true. What do you pair with red wine? That is.
Okay, with red wine, and especially the one that I'm drinking, what I would do is I would do dates stuffed with feta.
Oh, my word.
Ooh, that's sexy.
And walnut. And have that. This will fulfill every desire of red wine along with the entire pleasure of enjoying what you're doing.
I'm thinking a honey drizzle wouldn't go amiss, would it? And a splash of lemon juice. That is a Roman orgy of a meal. Well said.
This is it's not only an orgy. This is an orgy of desire, food.
Senses.
It's a specimen.
Oh.
Okay. Gone off it now. Yeah. I don't think I fancy it now.
No, I've gone right off that. Frank.
I think Javelin sounds better, to be fair.
What's out of 5? The Julietta.
Stop it, you.
Will you rate your Julietta tonight?
Pardon?
Could you
The
rate
Julietta is done, by the way. I've finished the Julietta.
You would have guessed that, but how would you rank it?
This Julietta, as always, on the scale, the Garvo, the scale is what, 5?
Yes.
All right. This Julietta on a regular basis cracks a 4.75.
Oh, that's
wow! My goodness!
Wow!
Thank you,
on
Frank.
a regular basis.
Thank
on
you,
a
sir.
regular basis. It's a beautiful.
Frank, post it up on the site, Frank, so we can have one.
It's a beautiful Alentejo. It is. It's like it's bursting. Like it's like at the beach in the bikini. It's there.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much for that. From the bread basket itself. Okay. Our newcomers tonight and excellent contributors, Michael and Catherine. Would you want to talk about your wine that you were drinking and what do you pair with it as a red?
Breakfast. In reality, I think we pair our red. We drink predominantly reds. We have quite a few whites as well in the cellar, but we drink predominantly reds, and we'll actually pick a red to choose what we're having for dinner. This Alentejos, I think go great with pork.
How about that one?
Any pork dish.
What would you have?
Well, this tonight, Catherine made. We had this tonight with. What was it you made? I've forgotten the name. They were lentil
patties
with rice and a bunch of other spices. This stood up to it perfectly, and they were quite spicy. So this stood up very well to it. So it's great.
Amazing.
Good job, Catherine.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, good job. And thank you for being with us tonight. Really appreciate it.
No, it's enjoyable.
Thank you.
A great debut this evening. Thank you so much. And our best regards to Sesimbra, a place we love.
Yeah. Well, we're leaving
Wednesday.
We did our last. No, tomorrow will be our last garbage pickup on the beach, and you'll be happy to know today's was a half bag.
There you are. There's Michael
Respect.
there in beach cleaning mode, and that's been a gumper. Do it on the beach.
Wonderful.
Initiative. So, good job. So I think you're attenuating.
Very good job.
Well done, sir.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, someone's got to balance up all the environmental damage, haven't they? Driving around in Range Rovers.
All the mess Garvo creates, people clean up.
I think you're talking about Dougie, aren't you? But anyway, Lee said,
Dougie. Forget about it.
Lee
Forget
said
about it, Garvo. It's Dougie.
And also, finally, Michael, you don't think the British will ever make a decent champagne?
Absolutely not. No, okay. They've been trying since I left England, and 45 years ago, they've been trying to make a decent wine. They still haven't made it yet.
Michael, are you in
the grapes apparently that make a good champagne? Not the best champagne, but apparently it's the grapes are good for it. That's all about the good for, though.
Penny's making champagne. Remember?
The statement that was made is they make a very, very dry wine. That's not a great thing for champagne. You look at the classic grape for champagne, a Chardonnay, and that's not a dry wine. It's the way it's processed. That's what makes a great champagne. I make champagne, or I make a sparkling wine from a local white that we have growing at home, and it doesn't taste like champagne, but it makes a great sparkling wine. And I've never tasted anything like it in England.
Oh, okay.
I make it myself.
They'll keep trying. They will keep trying because that's human nature, isn't it? Are you in the Okanagan Valley?
No.
Okanagan Valley. No, we live in the valley. We're one valley east of the Okanagan.
Okanagan is in Canada.
Yeah,
it is. But
well, it also
we're only 30 miles from the Canadian border.
Yeah,
we're on the Columbia River, and our region now is as hot as the Okanagan Valley.
43 degrees in the summer.
Yeah.
Frank, isn't it an Irish bar, O'Callaghan's?
O'Callaghan's Bar, yeah.
O'Callaghan's, authentic Irish bar.
It's
And
one of those. It's one of those bars where you and I would be found.
I think so.
Yeah.
And what about this, Michael? As a bit of a fizz maker, we have a rack of dusty 20-year-old Carver. Do you think it's still okay? That doesn't age well, does it?
Cava, rack of 20-year-old Cavas.
Oh,
Only
no,
one way to find out.
there's nothing wrong with 20-year-old.
What kind of rack are we talking about? Oh, we have a rack. Okay.
A wine rack. It's all right.
Oh, wine rack. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have
There's
a
only
wine
one way
rack.
to find out.
Okay.
I have a
That's
wine-
right. Absolutely. The Whitbees, thank you so much for being here. Let's conclude. Actually,
Thank
you the Austins can conclude. I just want to say, Frank, I'm so grateful to you for cooking pork loin when you came to our house. And ever since then, I've been buying that Lombo cut of meat, and I have been putting it in the slow cooker with star anise, maybe a bottle of stout, maybe a few chunks of ginger and some garlic, and that is beautiful.
Chuck birao in it as well.
Say that again.
Chuck some birao into it. Birao.
Good shout. I put an apple in with it yesterday, and it is some black pepper, some white pepper. What an amazing cut of meat that is! And you're talking about enough meat there. Probably, I mean, we got small children here, so that cut of meat feeds the whole family, and it's something like €5 for that.
I bought 2 kilos of
for that
Lombo
cut.
for €5, like in Lisbon. So it's not expensive, but it's really lean. It's
What an amazing, versatile cut of meat that is. Longer you
If I may for a second, Carl, this is exactly what I say about the beauty of pork meat in Portugal. Not only does it taste amazing, the amount of meat you get out of it, and the different, you can get very, very creative with it. The different things you can do out of it, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there are so many blessings in this country, but this is one of the blessings, and I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Well, it's not a patch on what you made. I mean, you roasted yours, and it was stuffed with fruit and cheese and chorizo. It was fantastic. But we have certainly taken a page out of your book with that, and feel very grateful to you. So finally, then, thank you for bringing this to our attention. The Rola Douro Red. Not very happy in Fundão with this, but I loved it, and I think you Austins have as well. Last words to you tonight.
I'll just answer Charles's question about pairings, right?
Please do, yeah.
With meats like beef and lamb, because they're strong tasting meats, you don't want your wine to fight with that. So maybe Douros and Dows are a fairly good choice. So they're not going to compete. When you go to things like pastas, cheeses, pizzas, your southern wines are just going to sit with them lovely. They're just going to complement the cheesiness and all that goes with it. So it really, really depends on the wine against what you're eating, and because it's such a complex picture. But basically, Douros will go with beef, lamb. They won't compete. Alentejos, pastas, cheeses. You might get away with things like Javali, which is lovely as well. And the rest are sort of somewhere in between. So it's a complex picture.
Can I say something? Yesterday we went out to a local restaurant and we had a shamfana for lunch, goat shamfana. It was really lovely, and we just had the local red wine to go with it, and it really, really enjoyed that meal. Yeah. So,
Linda, remember when we went in Coimbra, when we went to that restaurant, we went to that traditional restaurant, and the foods and the wines were paired so immaculately, and it was a very simple place, right? Yeah. And this is the beauty of Portugal, where you can go to a very, very simple place and get your wines and everything paired up beautifully.
Yep. Okay.
You don't have to spend a lot of money over here.
No, you don't.
Never.
No.
Well said. Well said. So the Austins, final words. Oh, Michael wants to come back, I think.
Yeah, I just somebody made a
Go on,
comment.
Michael.
Somebody made a comment earlier about how how wines will change, and I'd made a comment that even in 10 to 20 years, the French have adjusted their wines to world tastes. There's one wine that will. Well, I'm sure you all know about it, of course, but this is one wine to me that has changed more than I could ever imagine. Matus.
Oh yes,
Well,
well
it
said.
has, yeah, definitely.
When I first moved to Canada in 1975, I can remember
we should do a wine night on it.
Yeah,
I
let's do it. Let's revisit.
I remember moving to going skiing to Banff, and we had a bus tour. I arranged it, and I bought 12 bottles of Matus and put it on board the bus, and everybody drank it because we weren't great ernophiles. We just wanted wine, so
we were skiers.
We had Matus, and it was sweet and it was fizzy, and we could all drink it. That is not the same wine today. When we went through Matus 18 months ago, I was absolutely amazed at the way that wine tastes today.
Right.
It's so.
Yo, Michael, you have to agree. It's a wine for degenerates. It's not a wine. Let's not sing tunes about this because it's nonsense wine, right?
No. But what it shows you is how a vineyard or how a bodega changes their wine to the taste of the people.
Well
I mean,
said,
the Queen drank. It was the Queen of England's one of their favorite wines.
Yeah, but so did Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, but Jimi Hendrix drank it right after he snorted coke. So
yeah, well,
what are we talking about?
On that controversial note, let's just go for the final word from the Austins.
Love tonight, people.
Yes.
Thank you for your input. I never expected this amount of sort of interaction. Lovely night. Enjoyed my wine.
Lovely
Enjoyed the company. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Great job, everybody. We will see you again on the first Monday of next month. Take care. Bye for now.
Absolutely.